Hello everyone, Vickieverlie here, the Rock and Roll Prophetess. Today we're going to take a look at the new moon chart for August 4th, 2024, Eastern Time 7:13 a.m., but times will vary depending on your location. This is a psychic or intuitive chart read, so yes, while I'm well versed in astrology, I definitely color outside the lines quite a bit and get downloads and messages from my guides as we go through the reading. This is going to be a new moon, so that means the sun and moon are conjunct, and this is going to be at 12 degrees Leo 34 is where this is occurring. So the new moon in Leo, it's a few days before the Lion's Gate, but the new moon in Leo typically brings about like happiness, joy, it's time to celebrate the Leo energy. It's time for fun, romance, happiness, laughter, sports, attending events, concerts, music, all these sorts of things, and having a lot of fun in the sun. Like I just keep coming through at this fun in the sun. I think they said that before. Yeah, but that is so true at this time of Leo. Now this new moon at 12 degrees is making some pretty strong aspects here. The first thing that grabs me the strongest is it's with the node. It's trining the north node, and it's sextiling the south node, and then we've got to talk about the south node with Lilith there. Yeah, but this trine to the north node here. So it's like, what brings you joy? Leo rules the heart. It's ruled by the sun, and it's ruled by the heart chakra. It rules over the heart chakra. So what fills your heart with let me fill your heart with joy and laughter. I think that song came through recently. Yeah, I'll be there. But yeah, so what fills your heart with joy and laughter? You know, that's great thing for Leo, you know. What fills your heart with joy and laughter? Aries, what direction do you want to go in? It's being true to yourself. It's forging that new path, that new trail. Now, always a new moon is a good time to start a new beginning in your life, and whatever you're going in, whatever direction, whatever area of life you may be wanting to start a new beginning in. But with the sign of Aries, that also really is trining that north node in Aries. It really does bring in a strong new beginning, because of course Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So it's this new beginning, going down this new path, this new trail, that is aligned with your own true soul's calling, because ultimately that's what the node is about. Your true north in life. In your natal chart, it has a lot to do with why you're incarnate here. What's your soul mission? And that's something that I go a lot into in the soul readings. If any of you are interested in learning more about that, I do a soul reading where it's a psychic reading, but we look at the node. We look at the nodes, Chiron, Saturn, of course, the Lord of the Karma, but this North Node is so important. It's actually not a planet or anything, if you're not familiar. It's a point, it's the nodes of the moon. And it's really an astrological calculation rather than a planet, or, you know, doesn't have physical substance. But it's definitely about our true north in life. It's definitely about the direction we're meant to go in. The transiting node can reawaken that if you've lost your way. And everybody does, okay? Nobody lives the perfect life. Everybody veers off course to some extent. Everybody does, okay? And then that's realigning with and finding that true north. And when these kind of things show up, it's like the universe is going to give you those insights, give you those hints, those breadcrumbs to show you your true north. But with the sign of Leo, and even Aries to some degree, Aries are fun and like to laugh. You know, this is fire energy. It could be, you know, it may not come through necessarily deep contemplation. It may come while you're out having fun or doing something with children. That's very much the realm of the Leo in the 5th house and everything. So it's through having fun, through being lighthearted. What are those things that bring you that joy and that happiness? And chances are they're gonna give me another one. Chances are, 'cause I wear a silly grin. Na 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 na. It's Johnny Mathis, I believe. Chances are, your chances are awfully good. Yeah, so your chances are awfully good to align with your soul's calling. And it's interesting, that song too, Chances Are When I Wear a Silly Green. You know, that's right in there. That's right in there with this whole theme of this fun. I mean, there's other things going on, and we're going to get into them. But ultimately, if you can just realign to this happy place, where's your happy place? Realign to this, what brings you joy, what brings you laughter, what lights you up. There's clues to be found. There's paths to be discovered. The universe is trying to show you and guide you along this way. Now, there's lots of other things happening here. It's also making a sextile to the Mars-Jupiter, too. Well, let's not jump off of here first, because I keep wanting to go to this 29 Venus, because that's intense. But let's take it one step at a time here. So, yeah, it's sextiling the Jupiter-Mars. Now, that can be... It's great. You know, Jupiter's great. It's sextile to Jupiter and Gemini. Let's talk. Let's make plans. Let's brainstorm. It's all the realm of Mercury, Gemini, the mental realm, communication. But also Mars in there, and Jupiter too, because Jupiter expands, makes more, and amplifies. And Mars can be, well, Mars is the ruler of the North Node, but Mars can also get to that aggression thing, you know. So we don't want to be overzealous. We don't want to be too much. Here's another thing: we don't want the energy to escape, because sometimes when you talk something up too much, you let the energy escape, and you let other people's opinions and vibe and whatever, you know, get in your way. Or, you know, even if it's not, even if you're not deterred, which a lot of times you would be deterred. I've been deterred not anymore, but years ago I sure was. You know, so many things. I've mentioned these things many times in the podcast. You know, the biggest one of them was like the Apple thing. It was when Apple bottomed out in the stocks, and I'm sitting there watching Forrest Gump on TV, and he gets this big check in the mail from Apple, and I thought to myself, yeah, look at it now, it's in the toilet. And my guides came through super strong, and they're saying, no, it's not, it's going to come back, it's going to come back. Well, long story short, I didn't have much money, I was a single parent, and my kids were little, and I'm trying to, you know, I knew it was dead clear to me that that was the message. And so I'm trying to call, and at the time there was no internet to do, well, I mean, there was internet, I suppose. There was definitely internet, but there was, I didn't know about E-Trade, if it was around. I don't think it was. So I went to, you know, I'm going around to calling these local brokerages, and they're going, well, you have to have at least $500 to do any kind of investment. And back then, $500, you know, that might as well have been $5,000. I didn't have any, you know, extra money like that, raising 2 kids on my own. So I go to my dad, and I'm just like, you know, Dad, can you give me $500? He's like, for what? I want to invest in Apple. He's like, are you crazy? Didn't you see it was on the front page of the paper? It's tanked out. It's dead. Nothing. And these stocks were down, I think, a quarter a share, some crazy number. They thought it was going under, you know, and I knew it wasn't. And then even the guys at the brokerage house like laughed at me. They go, you want to invest in Apple? You know, they were all laughing at me. So long story short, I didn't get the money. I didn't do it. But it turned out to be, it would have been a great investment, you know. And there's a lot of things like that. The tarot.com thing, that was another one I let myself get talked out of when everybody was buying up domain names, Ford.com. And there was only so many letters that you could use. And I got up to 5 letters, like, oh, I should go get tarot.com. Everybody I knew, including spiritual people who read tarot and the psychics from the psychic fair and that were into it. Not, well, the normies or whatever, the regular people were totally like, you're out of your gourd, they'll never put tarot on the internet. But even my psychic friends were like, tarot.com, what are you thinking, blah, blah, blah. And I listened to them. And tarot.com sold for millions of dollars at some point, you know, to Yahoo, I believe it was. So that's what this kind of energy, that's what they're showing me, you know. You get these downloads, you get these ideas, you get these psychic insights that are to your true soul's calling, or the way, to show you the way. Show me the way to yeah, show you the way to whatever you're trying to achieve. You know, and as a single parent, having some Apple stock sure would have helped my game. You know, that would have helped me out a lot. You know, I struggled for a lot of years when my kids were little. You know, it was always, you know, doing all kinds of different jobs and different things. But whatever, we made it through and everything's cool now. But, you know, that would have really helped me. And your guides are always trying to send you ideas and help people things. But then sometimes, it lets the energy out of it, number one, you know, because you're talking it instead of doing it. Mars wants you to do it, and Aries wants you to do it. So you're talking it instead of doing it. So that kind of just like it deflates the whole thing, and deflates the balloon idea, the air out of the balloon. But also, not everybody is, you know, I'm sure many people watching this are like me. You're a good person. You wish others well, you know, and you're excited for them. You understand, you know, the law of attraction, that you're excited to them, and so then good things come to you too. But a lot, maybe not most, but there's quite a few people that don't. And the minute they see you have some good idea, there's jealousy, or this, you know, just whatever the case, whatever their negative vibe is, it doesn't have to be jealousy. It ruins, it kind of wrecks the vibe of, you know, it can pollute the purity of the intention and the purity of the message and the download, or running it by everybody else to see what they think about it. Aries is you going, you know, you doing it your way, and not to the point of being a jerk, because that's one of the things this too can be. You can be overbearing with this, you know, talking over people, and you know, mentally, I know everything, you know, I'm right about everything, and Mars getting your dander up about it, you know. But otherwise, you know, it can give you a lot of energy, drive, ambition to get it done, and get your own wheels turning there, and get your own downloads, because the downloads will come. The downloads will come. If you start working the problem, the downloads will come, and you'll get those ideas, because Aries, it could be something that's just for you. It's meant for you. These other people who are poo-pooing it, or you know, verbally poo-pooing it and saying, oh, you're crazy, that's a crazy idea, or whatever, you know, that are just putting their negative vibes all over it, it's not for them. So they can't see it. They can't see your vision or your thing, because it's just not for them. So you got to do what's right for you, and what's the path is being opened to show you. And what it's very much tied into this whole, what's the happiness quotient here? What makes you happy? You know, not only that, this Gemini, the Mars in Gemini, is squaring the Mercury, ruler of Gemini. I don't have this table. I had to rerun this chart because I had not, I run them all at the beginning of the year, and I didn't do it for the 0 Aries, so I just reran it last night, and it doesn't have all the extra stuff pasted in there. But Mercury, it rules over Gemini, okay? So the ruler of this Mars in Gemini is over here, and it's making a square. So again, this can also be the dreamer. This is very much about, I feel like, being the dreamer. You know, you don't have to have every single little detail figured out. You certainly don't have to be there every little thing that can go wrong. You know, because that can, I love my Virgos. I always get along with Virgos. It's so great. But that can be a Virgo, the downside of the Virgo energy. Well, what if this happens? What if that happens? Nitpicking everything to death. There has to be an element of kind of trusting the universe. I mean, not to the degree of just being, you know, there's things that got to be worked out, ironed out, always, right? But it's not, don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. Take a break to go have that fun, to go, you know, clear your head. Get out there, have that fun. They just said out of the mouths of babes, you know, spend time around children, because sometimes kids come up with some stuff, you know, because they're not so encumbered, they're not so immersed in the paradigm yet, in the matrix, you know, they're still in their connection to spirit. You know, speaking of this, Venus at 29, this is that Regulus degree too. Somewhere in here, it's one of these last degrees, the part of fortune in this chart for the Western or Eastern chart. And Venus here with this Regulus, and it's doing an out of sign opposition to Pluto too, which would be here at 29. Or actually, not wrong. That's not correct, but it's trining the Chiron. That's what I saw earlier. I wanted to jump over here. Yeah, it's trining the Chiron. So this isn't, well, first of all, Regulus and Venus together, there can be that ego thing. That's the potential, caution or whatever you might want to say about it. But it also can be, wow, something could be just so cool and so celebrated and so everybody loves it, and you getting those accolades and people being on board with it and thinking it's great, because Regulus is this royalty, and everybody, maybe not so much in the modern day, but in back in the times when that was more prevalent, people really the marveled in the regalia of it all, the regalness of it all, and the splendor and all that kind of stuff. It's like a gala. They keep wanting me to say the word gala, G-A-L-A. So, and not only that, but then you bring in all this Leo stuff. I mean, look, this is some Leo stuff. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 placements in Leo, and the new moon is there. So that can be, Leo is the king of the jungle. It does represent royalty, whether it's on Regulus or not. The Leo is the king, and the queen or the king. So, but it's like something that could be really celebrated, but it's only going to come through you following your own. It's not going to come from you copying exactly what somebody else did, trying to steal their thunder. I mean, you can, and you may, and lots of people do achieve levels of success by doing that. But that's not what, going back to this whole North Node deal here, that's not what we all came here to do. We didn't come here to steal somebody else's thunder or copy their stuff, and, in this, that's that scarcity mentality. Like, oh, they're doing it, so I'll do it too, and, blah, 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 whatever. I don't even know what the mindset is behind that, but it definitely happens, and it's more about finding that thing that's yours, because that's just that. Everybody's here for that special purpose and that special reason. And we all are to be celebrated. We all are to be celebrated, and we all are here to lift the energy. We just get so caught up and tangled in all this stuff. Oh, that was the other thing too. It's squaring this Uranus here. This Uranus and the other one, Elgal, where we just had that whole big thing go down with everything that went down. We all know what it was. I don't even want to get flagged for anything, but things could be unpredictable. Now, it's the last incident there was, was Mars. That's what it was. It was the Mars-Uranus conjunction there. Yeah, and bad things can happen, and something kind of, bad did happen, and so on. But Uranus is not all about that. Mars kind of brings that in. Mars, the aggressor of Mars, brings that in. But what was I going to say about it? Uranus, is just things can turn on a dime. Things can turn on a dime, and that's not always a bad thing, Matter of fact, it could be a really good thing. And it doesn't have to be, we don't have to go through all this struggle and suffering and everything else, it's embedded in our DNA, it's in our lineage, it's in our paradigm that, you gotta work hard, blah, 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 and it's gonna be hard, and you have to suffer for your art, and you have to suffer for this and that. This is not that energy. This is like, hey, it could be, I'm hearing, it's as easy as falling off a log, so easy, baby, easy to fall in love with you. Love and romance could totally be happening for sure, because this Leo stuff, it's all in the flat wheel like this is the 5th house. Of course, it would be different in your chart depending on where it's at, but there's definitely an element of love in Leo. You could meet if that's your jam, if that's what you're after, you could meet somebody unexpectedly for sure with this Uranus thing when you're not even looking for it. But it could be life-changing. It doesn't have to be all disastrous and terrible. We bring in this 29, the last chance for romance. They've said that to me before. There's also this 29 of Neptune, which is kind of, it's sextiling that, but I mean, this is like, and squares make things happen too. Oh, squares are negative. Oh, it's squaring Uranus. Everybody run and hide. Ooga booga. Let's not go there. there's potential, and definitely anytime there's some big Uranus things with Mars too, you want to, you want to be safe and just keep, watch your back or whatever. But there's also just so much potential, and it can be scary. There's a lot of fear surrounding it. That's what I was getting to with the Uranus thing. There's a lot of fear. Oh, sudden change. Oh, what's it going to be? The sky is falling, But, let's get out of that fear mode and believe in miraculous changes. I believe in miracles. Where from? You sexy thing. You sexy thing. You. If you've never seen my videos, my guides come through with songs, but every song they've come through with so far seems to be steering us back to love. So yeah, maybe some of you are going to have some kind of big crazy love affair that just, a whirlwind romance, with the Uranian energy. That's the way we could look at it too. But, on a deeper level, I feel like there's so much frustration. It just seems like there's so much frustration in the world. And, my guides are saying brother against brother, and if you look on the internet, on social media, it's so prevalent, and everybody, you talk about anything. The sky is blue, and, trolls are going to jump all over you and just start in, and, it's a feeding frenzy, and it's just like, come on now. Uranus rules over technology, too. It's like, isn't there better ways that we could be using this technology? What's that great meme about? Yeah, I'm retired now. I'm gonna spend the last years of my life fighting with people about politics on the internet. Whatever, it was something like that, and it's so true. Why do we turn to anger? Why do we turn? That's all that scarcity thing. Why do we turn to anger? Why do we turn to going after somebody, or why does it have to be like that? Because it stems from our own fear of lack, scarcity, and like that. Uranian energy can be a beautiful thing, and it can be a beautiful thing. You don't, and if you, sometimes here we can take it back to this Mercury, Gemini stuff here, this Gemini energy of the downside of it, that's positive and negative of everything, but that's that getting in your head too much, or overthinking it, or over-talking it. You start going down these dark corridors of, oh, well, what if this happens? What if, how? Well, you got to know how. Sometimes you just got to trust. That's a big part of a lot of things. But, Leos aren't the type to, they know their worthiness. That's another energy of the Regulus and the Leo energy. They are completely aware of their worthiness. Nobody is, they're not in fear and lack for the most part. I was just going to pull out the Empress. It's very much the Empress card, in this case, anyway. I know strength, and there's other cards that might be more associated with Leo, but right now, this is coming through, okay? And it's like, she sits on her throne, and she knows she's abundant. She's not trying to figure out, well, where's it going to come from? Well, how is that possible? That's one of the biggest killers of a dream. You could say those words. Well, how is that possible? Who cares? And that's not for you to worry about, especially with Uranian energy, because if you feel like you have to figure it out, or you have to see if you have to figure it out, and it has to be like the way somebody else did it, and maybe it took them 8 years, 10 years, and you think, well, yeah, I don't have 8 or 10 years to mess around with this, so screw it, I'm not going to do it. That's not necessarily the case. There's all kinds of ways that things can unfold that we are just not, when in the human form and operating the human mind, Mercury, that we're not meant to figure out right now. I love astrology, and I've been doing astrology forever, but that's why I take it to this next level, because you don't always, it's a lot, not everybody. There's some great, I love my astrologers, and many of YouTube astrologers I love a lot, and I listen to regularly, always after I do my own forecast, because I don't want to inadvertently say anything they said. But there's people out there, and they got to prove it, because they always got to be right. And it's like, well, it was this, and this, and it's just like, come on now. Does it always have to be explained and proven? With that mentality, you always got to be right. You know, because you got to find, well, it was, I mean, they take it to crazy degrees, crazy, like, you know, and it's like, well, I'm so knowledgeable. I'm digging in. I know all about secondary progressions, and I know all about this and that and the other because I'm so smart and knowledgeable, and I know everything, and I'm always right. Sometimes it serves us better to just chill on that a little bit, you know, and just let the universe, and this is what this 29 here, we've got to talk about this too, the 29 of Neptune, because this is so, so powerful. Every sign goes from 0 degrees to 29, okay, you know that. And on the astrology wheel, it goes from Aries through Pisces. So it starts with Aries, and it goes Taurus, blah, 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 Pisces, the last house. So this is the last house and the last degree of the last house. So it is uber, uber, uber powerful. But again, Neptune subtle. We get in here with all the chaos and all the, you know, they're showing me like those movies where you see where they go out into space and then all of a sudden you get closer and you start hearing all the radio signals and TV signals and all the noise and all the clatter, you know. That's the way it is. But Neptune doesn't hear any of that. Neptune is pure, unembodied, spiritual truth of the highest degree. That, in fact, 29 of Pisces is in fact the highest degree of the whole thing, of the whole shebang. My guys have been saying that lately. I got somebody that's coming through that likes to use that term, the whole shebang. and it's opposing Juno here too. So Juno, the goddess of love and beauty, so much opportunity to bring through this love, this divine feminine, this creativity, this bringing beauty into the world. You know, it's not always about outsmarting everybody, and I know everything, and I know more than you, and I'm the authority, and I'll figure it out. I'll find a way. I have to figure out why it happened. I don't care how it happened. It's a beautiful thing, and I don't need to prove to anybody of any bit of it, you know. It's beautiful, pure love energy flowing through, and, you know, that's a big part of higher dimensional existences, whether it's through ancient Earth, like a lot of people bring up Lemuria, which I feel, of course, is Hawaii, but there's the mountaintops of it, but, you know, it's all this, or wherever. When I do the soul readings, a lot of times some crazy stuff comes through. It's not Earth, you know. I'm pretty sure most people have lived other places besides Earth. You know, but we're born into this paradigm of fear. You know, this fear, like, we don't go there. That's not for you to know. You're just a little, you know, you're a worker bee. You know, you just go about and have to make money. And, you know, having to make money ties up so much energy and time, you know, that could be spent in flow and creativity. The other thing I wanted to touch on here, because this is also making that aspect here to old, and Mars is trining it, but Lilith is involved with the South Node for sure. Strong, pretty close tie-in here. So this is big time karmic stuff coming up. Big time, because Lilith, you know, she's a complicated woman. She's a feminist. She was a strong woman, all this stuff, but she was the victim. I mean, but she didn't let him, you know, she never cracked. She never let him, don't let him see you sweat. Like, she never cracked, she never succumbed. And it's squaring the series up here with the nodes too. We got that going on. But this, where we, you know, Lilith has a tinge of vengefulness with her. She's got that, a little bit of that vibe going on. Where are we holding on to vengefulness? Where are we holding on to Libra, maybe other people that we were once in partnership with? Goes back to what I was saying earlier about the whole Aries energy. You know, we got to go with what we believe. Don't have to run it by somebody else. And maybe maybe you have a path to go where you may have to leave some others behind. And that sounds terrible to say it that way, but maybe you just don't have, if you're waiting for approval or waiting for, we got to do this together. Not necessarily. If that could be a big onus or a big thing that's going to weigh you down here, It could be a big thing that's going to weigh you out, weigh you down, and that not allowing for vulnerability, always having to be, always having to have that, your armor on almost, that shielded armor. In the sign of Libra, too, there's a big energy of or opportunity for forgiveness. And that was one of the things I was picking up here, too. I forgot to mention. I got off track somehow. But with this whole thing here, with this trine to Chiron, where there's an opportunity for forgiveness, for healing. And what we're programmed into success in this life, like everybody says, when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to be worried about how much money you made or how many cars you bought or if you were right or not, that you had to prove you were right. Nobody gives a shit about any of that, right? The love and the beauty and the emotion and those kind of imprints and the breaking of the ancestral, doing your soul work, whatever that might be. Whatever your soul work is, have you done it? We didn't all come here to be, rich and famous necessarily, or whatever, keeping up with the Joneses or all that other stuff, Everybody has a unique soul mission. And coming back to this, this Aries energy and Chiron in Aries too, it's about sticking to your soul mission and accepting it for what it is, and finding the peace. This is about finding peace, being at peace with it, and still finding beauty in life, and still finding peace and flow within. Yeah, we've also got the Jupiter squaring up with the Saturn too. So this could be like the excess of Jupiter, because it could be excess, is squaring against Saturn and Pisces, because the Pisces is doing this, doing our soul work. And by the way, I'm not knocking other astrologers. I listen to them, and I'm very interested in secondary progressions and the asteroids and all fixed stars. I find that stuff really cool and interesting. But I'm talking about there's certain people that are just, so closed off. Like if it isn't explainable by some way, then it's, they're so caught in their head. I mean, I'm way on the other side of the spectrum here. I'm way on the spiritual side of the spectrum as far as the astrology goes, But there, there's some people I'm saying that are just way on I had a friend like that. She said, that's not what the book said. She used to always tell it to me. It used to irk me so bad. Well, the book was written by a human who has an individual opinion. The book. It's an astrology book, It's not, the book said this, the book said that. I don't give a crap what the book said. Well, it's not that I don't give a crap, but I've read the book. I get what the book said, and I'm expounding upon it, But that's like this, too. That's a prime example about what this could be, this was 20 years, more than 20 years ago. She's been passed away for years, too. She died in the 90s. So it was more than 30 years ago now. But, I'm trying to make her see that there's more than just what's in the book. She's not going to see it. So she doesn't have to see it. I can still go on my path and, groove into my studies and different studies, but then also just, bridging that gap between, I can do my thing. I can be me. I can let my freak flag fly. I can do my soul ascension work. And she doesn't have to be convinced or come along. Or she can, talk about the book all day long and great. Knock yourself out. I don't have to make her see things my way or grow beyond the book like I was wanting to do. That's what it really was. I was I'd outgrown the book, you know, and I was ready to move into new territory. And even back then, there wasn't as, like, now there's just so many astrology books out, and then beyond books, you know, there's videos and everything else, but there wasn't all that many astrology books out. I mean, some of the big ones were the, well, Robert Hand's Planet and Transits was a big book back then, and what were those two teachers, Joan McEvers and The Only Way to Learn Astrology series? Those were really, that might have been the book that she was talking about, I'm thinking, back then, I don't remember. But there wasn't a whole lot of other books out there. I remember going to the fairs and there would be like these pamphlets and different things. One, if anybody is interested in like a deeper esoteric astrology, it might be, I don't know if it's outdated by now, but the one that really opened my mind, you know, I found a book. She was so hell-bent on it had to be in a book. It was the Isabel Hickey book. I think it was Cosmic. I still have it somewhere in my bookshelf. But that really, and that opened me up to like the nodes and how it plays into past lives. Of course, I've gone way beyond that by now. It's been like more than 30 years later of studying this stuff. And not studying it, just doing readings and getting the, you know, doing the actual work beyond, you know, looking something up in a book and seeing, you know, like that. You know, doing that actual work. But, and it's not going to, I'm not knocking astrology. Like I said, there's many that I love and watch regularly. There's quite a few that I watch regularly, and I love the information that they come through with. But I'm not going to go to them either by the same token and say, you know, you should really stop talking about blah, 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 and just go with the flow. So what? I'm so past that now. Like, I don't care how you get your information. But when I was talking about this earlier here, it doesn't have to do with astrology necessarily. There's just people that are trying to prove that they're right. And they're going to shove it down your throat no matter what, you know, like, dude, I'm not interested. You have, you know, go ahead, knock yourself out. You want to, you know, that's right for you. It's not right for me. It might not be right for you, but it's right for me. I think that's, Sarah McLachlan. There we go. Yeah. So it's not a time of over pushing. I mean, there could be that tendency or that not that, maybe that urge, but there could be that, you know, wanting to blah blah blah. I'm right, and here's how I got it all figured out. It's all because of this, that, and the other, and that's the whole, you know, end of story. There's more than meets the eye. There's so much more than meets the eye. There's so much more that can penetrate our little monkey brains here. There's so much more. It's so much deeper than that. And, you know, everybody's moving at their own pace. Some people are never going to get out of the book, and that's okay too, you know. That's cool. But it's cool if you want to stay in reading out of the book, but don't try to force me to, you know, and don't knock me for wanting to go further. You know, applaud. If somebody goes further, like, especially like with art lately, I've been more into art than music lately, it seems. And, you know, somebody's really making big breakthroughs in their art. I'm like, yeah, you go. You know, I'm inspired. I'm really in awe of them, and it inspires me, and it motivates me to want to go do better. Even like if it's something like I just feel like, wow, they're just so beyond me. Like they're so, you know, out of my league or whatever. I wonder and awe in it. I don't get pissed about it. I don't go talking shit about them on, you know, social media. I don't try to convince them to dull their light or dull their expression. Yeah, I applaud their blooming and their, you know, because they're breaking through paradigms, they're breaking through glass ceilings in all kinds of different ways, and it's not only one thing, you know, these glass ceilings, it's not about women necessarily, you know, it's about whatever restrictions, and, you know, I think that could be a really, you know, big thing about this Saturn in Pisces, you know, breaking through those restrictions, those laid down rules, you know, those blockades is what they want me to say. All right, so we're running a little long. We could go on. There's a lot. There's stuff that I haven't even touched on. There's a lot more to go. But anyways, this is the reading. it's mostly about trying to get on that lighter side. That's how you can, I feel you can really utilize this energy, light and fun, because Geminis could be really fun too. Using this air fire energy to be light and fun, and not take your mind off of, you know, even though it's a fixed sign, but try not to be so fixed, because when you're having fun and you're not trying to solve it, or, you know, you don't have to prove your point or solve anything, that's when you can get those downloads. When you lighten your vibe, when you lighten your energy, that's when the spirit, the divine can come through, and you can really get those big messages. I wanted to announce, a quick announcement. Oh, by the way, if you're watching this, you're watching Rock and Roll Prophetess, don't be fooled by imposters. My site is vickieverlie.com. I am opening for eclipse readings, and this eclipse readings are only going to be available through September, because that's going to be, even though there's one in October, that's going to be the cutoff on that, because I got other stuff coming up. But here, I wanted to show you guys, because I always write these little cards. Anybody who's had a private reading from me knows I pull these cards out. It's just a real quick reference. I know it could all be computerized, but I just in the habit of doing this. I'm doing my 2025, you know, cards and stuff, and this would be encompassing these last two eclipses, the September 17th and the October 2nd. It'd be a tri-wheel, your chart and then the two, and it's your actual chart, not a flat wheel. It'd be your ascendant and your wheel, okay? For those that follow, you don't have to know all that stuff to get anything out of the reading necessarily, but what's happening, and what's interesting, and why I felt like I should do it, is because look at this. You know, we've been in Libra, Aries, Libra, Aries. We're getting the first. We're doing this transitionary, the first of the Pisces. We're going to transition. The nodes are going to transition next year. The nodes have been in Aries and Libra, of course, on here, Aries and Libra, and now they're going to be moving to Pisces and Virgo. So therefore, the eclipses will change too. But we're getting a little sneak peek of what's to come. So this is like this is going to be really good to show like where we've been, you know, what the energy we've been in and how it affects your chart and your planets and whatever. And then how we're going into the next one. There'll be one more in Aries next year on the 29th, but then it's Virgo and Pisces all the way for the next year and a half, whatever, 2 years or so. So this is an important eclipse cycle coming up, because it's definitely foreshadowing. I don't even like to use that word because it sounds so dark and ominous. But it's a precursor or a preview. How about that? A preview of what's to come in the next round of eclipses and the next round of the lunar cycles. So I don't always do the eclipse readings. I haven't done one in a while, but I thought, you know, instead of, because what I sometimes will do in the fall is I'll do the Libra Ingress readings. But I decided, looking at this, I think this would be more valuable and more, you know, information and just more valuable. I think it'd be a better reading with more meat, you know, juicier reading, and more insightful, you know, for people. So that's open as of today. If anybody's interested, you can head over to my website and order yours. I like to spread it out a little. I don't like it when everybody's ordering in the September. It's at last minute, and I'm going pulling my hair out. I mean, I'm glad to do it. I'm happy to do it. But if you think you're going to order it, you want to order it this month, you know, that might be better for me to space it out a little bit. But of course, whatever you want to order, it is. Usually, turnaround time is about a week. I always put in the email, I put a week, 7 to 10 days, just to give myself a little bit of cushion if I do get kind of pounded, you know, and I'm trying to get a lot of readings done. But generally within a week, sometimes as little as 5 days, you know. But I just try to give myself a little cushion. But you're not going to be waiting months for it or anything like that. I've got a Capricorn sun, and I'm a worker. I got a lot of Virgo in my chart, so you know, I work and I do my readings every day and I try to keep up on it, and because I know what it's like. I know you don't want to wait. You want to find out the stuff. So that's it. All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. Get out there and have some fun. Don't take life so seriously. I think that's another big takeaway we could get from this, you know. You don't have to figure it all out. You don't have to know everything. You just, you know, you kind of have to trust in the universe, and maybe just take a break from whatever's been troubling you. Just take a little break and have a little fun, and you may gain more ground by just having a little fun, as far as any kind of problems you're trying to solve or headway you're trying to make, even if it's just the fact of recharging your batteries. You know, go out there and have that fun, do those fun things, fun in the sun, and could be some major breakthroughs. All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you are love and beauty incarnate, and I'll be back for the next reading. I'll be doing the monthly. I might not be able to get it up till like the very end of July, maybe the first week of day of August, because I got a little behind, but that will be coming. If you're waiting on the tarot, the monthly tarot, that'll be coming. I did my sheet for it already. I got as far as doing that, and I just got to block out some time to find out and just sit down and do the actual readings. But they're coming. Thanks again, everybody. Hey, by the way, if there's been something going on in YouTube where people are getting unsubscribed, and I've definitely been, my subscribers have been dropping for a while, quite a while. And I've even, I've been stuck at where I'm at for probably 10 years almost now. I've been stuck in subscribers. But over the last couple months, I have noticed like a big drop. So apparently YouTube is going around and unsubscribing people. I'm not sure on all the details of it all. But if you haven't subscribed and you'd like to, that would help me out. Thank you for that. But if you thought you were subscribed, just double check, because maybe YouTube has done something, I'm not sure exactly what it's all about, but I've heard a lot about this. People on all platforms. It's not just the psychic platforms. I've heard a lot of people talking about that. So check it out if you want to get my videos and know when they're uploaded. Check it out. And thanks again. Have a good one. Bye.